There it is, folks. The Oklahoma City Thunder are officially our 2025 NBA champions as they close out the finals at home in Game 7 over the Indiana Pacers. I'm here. I got the celebration going on while I'm recording this. I got to start off saying, man, much love and much credit to both teams. Obviously, there can only be one winner, which is the Oklahoma City Thunder. But the Pacers came and played and fought and gave every single thing that they had. This was a series that a lot of NBA fans, myself included, thought would be a quick series, maybe 5 or 6 games. Never in my life did I imagine this to go 7 and have all of the dramatic, moments that it's had. And it was an incredible way to wrap up another incredible NBA season. So I have to give the love to the Indiana Pacers. The other place I want to start is the obvious elephant in the room. To see Tyrese Halliburton go down with that injury at that time, in this moment, this situation, Game 7, NBA Finals, to see that was one of the, if not the most heartbreaking injury I've probably seen in my entire life of watching basketball. We've seen a lot of more gruesome injuries, right? Some things that make you kind of, clutch your chest or look away. We've definitely seen some horrific things. But when you talk about the stage, the timing, the stakes, and how he came out and played in that opening quarter, when you put all of that into context, that is probably one of the most heartbreaking injuries I've ever seen. And then his reaction to instantly knowing what it was, instantly, falling in agony on the floor in pain, crying, to see the reaction of his father. Again, Tyrese Halliburton, anytime I've been able to cross paths with him, one of the most likable dudes, always, smiling and just, having a good time. And I think his game kind of reflects that. Very unselfish dude, has an incredible play style. Not, the most typical or traditional kind of unorthodox jump shot and everything like that. But I just think that the vibes he brings to the game, his play style, the energy is always a sight to watch, even as a Knicks fan who has had battles with this Pacers team, with my team and whatnot. Just don't want to see that for anybody, but let alone a guy who was called the most, overrated player and everything like that. And to be able to have this moment, and again, to start off the game the way he did with the 9 points. I even think those 9 points had him as tied for like the second leading scorer for the Pacers going into the half. He was impacting that game and playing the way that a lot of us media people were asking for. Like, the numbers, the statistics, the analytics say that when Tyrese Halliburton comes out aggressive and he scores X amount of points or he shoots X amount of shots, this team wins at a large rate. And we were getting one of those starts. It was looking like we were going to have one of those moments for him. And to see it end that way again, man, extremely heartbreaking. I feel sorry for him. I feel sorry for the Indiana Pacers, you know what I mean, to be able to watch the rest of this game and to see the impact of him not being out there in the position to put them in again. And this stage, Game 7, as a fan, it's just like, not now. Not now. We didn't come this far just to get that. And again, I on the other side, I kind of feel a little bad for OKC because it's going to damper their celebration. Right? OKC won the game fair and square. The only thing they can do is play who's in front of them. It ain't like anybody went out of their way to injure Tyrese Halliburton. I don't think they wish this on Halliburton. But it is what it is. And it's a little similar as a Knicks fan when we won in Boston to go up 3-1. Tatum tore his Achilles. And the game, to me, I think we were on our way to winning that game. But it put such a dark cloud over the excitement because it's like nobody, even the opponent, wants to see a player go down that way. We all know what the Achilles injury does to a player, and guys have been able to come back from it, remarkably over the last few years or whatnot, but it's still not an injury you want to see anybody have because of the timeline, because of how much it's going to take you away from the game, the recovery process, and it's still just an injury that you would not want to go through as an NBA player who's trying to use his explosiveness in cutting and moving and different things like that. So, again, prayers for Tyrese Halliburton, and credit to him and the Indiana Pacers for giving us everything that they had. And to keep the attention a little bit on the Pacers before we give all of the love and attention to our champion, Pacers' fault, man. Pacers' fault. For them to be going into the half with the lead, it was only a 1-point lead, but still, to have to respond to your best player getting hurt in that fashion, to be able to, on the road, and to respond the way that they did. They all stepped up again, finding ways to be successful, leaning and relying on each other, and really just stepping up to the moment and fighting through adversity. And even to close out this game, I mean, at one point in the fourth quarter, they went on a 9-1 run to cut the lead back into a respectable range of like 12, 14 points. And there was some times early in the fourth quarter where I was kind of thinking to myself, maybe I should start my video so once the finals is over, I can just press, release, like drop it immediately. But I'm like, you know what? I got too much respect for the Pacers to do that, because they found ways to, have comebacks and play magical basketball, and they were doing it. And that's, again, all you can ask for is for a team to give everything that they have. And credit to OKC for not allowing them to win, because I can't imagine the type of pain or the feeling you would have losing to a team that lost their best player. But yeah, I thought Nembhard had some moments. Obviously, TJ McConnell in that third quarter gave him everything that he had. Nobody else could really buy a bucket in that quarter. But collectively, Pascal Siakam, when Tyrese Halliburton first went down, I thought Benedict Mathurin had some aggressive plays and some big-time shots coming off the bench and then starting the second half. Miles Turner hit a three. Neesmith was trying, as much as he could on the glass. Not the greatest game from Obi Toppin, but all of the impact he had in the other games, it's hard to expect him to play like that in every single moment. But to turn the attention over to the Thunder, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, they haven't even announced it yet. It's right here on the side of me as I record this, but I'm almost, not even almost, but I'm sure he's about to win the Finals MVP, rightfully so. He played like a Finals MVP today. The big stretch he had for most of this game with the scoring and the assisting and the lack of turnovers, he did eventually get that first turnover, but for a long stretch of this game, he had like 20-9, 20-10, 20+10 with 0 turnovers. And it just was a reflection of the type of mentality he had to start this game, which was to be aggressive and to make this defense give him whatever he wanted and show that he was going to be able to beat them in that way. He trusted his teammates, made a lot of incredible reads, didn't overly force it, but Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, being the scorer that he is going to force a little bit, and I feel like he really stepped up to the plate when J-Dub was struggling. I think we went into the half, J-Dub was like 2 of 7 with 5 points. I think Chet was 2 of 4 for 5 points. And you got Shai's production, and then the big half from Caruso in the first half. The 2 back-to-back threes he had, the 8 points in that first half was tremendous. I thought Cason Wallace throughout the course of this game applied a lot of pressure, especially when Tyrese Halliburton exited and it became a lot of TJ McConnell. The amount of pressure that OKC was able to put on TJ McConnell, and I give credit to TJ McConnell. This is not his ordinary, typical role. I saw a lot of people trying to talk about the turnovers he had, but again, this is a backup point guard who has been dominant in certain stretches for the NBA Finals, who now had to shoulder and step up to replace Tyrese Halliburton, the engine of one of the greatest offenses we've seen. He had to step up and kind of replace him. And so that's just too much to shoulder for a guy. And OKC did a really good job of just applying that pressure. There was times where they trapped him. Cason Wallace was up in his grill. Lou Dort was chasing him around. And I think it really impacted him in that second half. And you started to really see how much this injury of Tyrese Halliburton impacted them. But then, third quarter, second half, you saw some of the moments from J-Dub. I think Chet Holmgren showed his value on the defensive side of the basketball, all of the blocks and how he was able to switch and hold his own for the most part. A really theatrical game, right? It had its highs, it had its lows, roller coaster type experience as an NBA fan, and I think all of us around the world can agree to that. You come out nervous, whether you have a team or a player in this game. It's just the nervousness and the jitters in the air as a viewer of a Game 7 with so much on the line for two teams that, have some incredible players, but some guys who haven't been here before on the stage. And you can feel it in the air. The game started, and you can see it through the screen. You can see the nervousness. You can see the tightness. You can see the moment, on all of the players. And then, they started hooping, and there's excitement. Shots is going down. Tyrese Halliburton hitting the deep threes. Caruso hitting the back-to-back threes. Here we go. The energy is starting to rev up. Halliburton goes to his injury, and it takes 3 quarters, right? Like it took the fourth quarter where OKC started to really separate and get almost a 20-point lead for me to just kind of be like, I don't want to say over it, because even now I'm still saddened by the injury, but it kind of lessened for me. It took 3.5, almost 4 quarters to really be able to mentally move on from the Tyrese Halliburton injury. I mean, the entire game, I'm just kind of like, I cannot believe that happened to him. I cannot believe that's the way he went out. It's going to start a conversation. I've already seen some of the conversation on Twitter. I saw Victor Oladipo tweet some things out, but a lot of people having a problem with all of these guys with these calf injuries kind of giving it a go and pushing themselves past the margin to ultimately run into this situation. You know, we saw Kevin Durant do it years ago with the Warriors against the Raptors in that series. We seen Damian Lillard do it in this season. I don't believe Tatum had any calf injuries in the Knicks series or anything like that. But we saw Tyrese Halliburton really nursing this injury. This is an injury that he would have been out for weeks if it wasn't the NBA Finals or playoffs. In the regular season, yeah, he probably would have been out for a few weeks, and he still tried to give it a go. And you have to respect that. And that's why my conversation and my perspective on this is always, we got to start figuring out ways to not put these players in lose-lose situations, right? If you respect your body and sit out because you're hurt, everybody's going to have things to say. And I'm not even talking about social media at this point. You know, you see a lot of the things that's being said on air with the real legitimate media, on TV, on national airwaves, national television. You know what I mean? Everybody's so critical of every single thing after every single game, to the point where now we got players willing to really put their body on the line to this extreme rate to have these type of significant injuries. And I just think that that's not what we are. And there has to be some type of middle ground, because, you know, we definitely don't want guys sitting out, missing majority of the season year in and year out. But these type of injuries, I think we're good without. You know what I mean? I think we're good without. You respect Tyrese Halliburton, you respect Damian Lillard, you respect KD, all of these guys that try to give it a go and play through the injuries. But on the flip side, we now see why guys like Kawhi Leonard, Derrick Rose, Jamal Murray, countless guys who said, hey, they're clearing me to play, but I know my body, and I am not ready to play. I'm not there yet. I might be clear physically. They may say it's good to go, but I know my body, and I'm not ready there. And we've seen a lot of players get ridiculed. A lot of players get called out. Their care about winning and competing gets called into question. And then it's like, you go this route, and now you're the one who has to sit out for a year and rehab and recover from an Achilles injury that could be very detrimental to your NBA career. So we're putting players in a lose-lose situation with very little upside to gain from, because hypothetically, Tyrese Halliburton plays through this game and they still lose, and it's like, what is it, a moral victory he's getting? You know what I mean? Like, we've seen players play through injuries and lose, and nobody gives a damn. It was like, oh, remember, like that was cool, but it, you know, so that's my 2 cents, man. I wish I could really give some extreme analysis. There's just a lot of emotions in the air right now. I'm extremely happy and proud of the Oklahoma City Thunder team. Another team twice in 2 years in a row now, where the best legitimate team in the NBA handled business. The road wasn't as sexy. It was challenging. They did face some adversity here, but they persevered. This was a team that got talked about all year long. Were they ready? Were they too young? Did they have enough of this? Did they have enough of that? Did they shoot enough threes? And they were able to win it. And I like a lot of these guys on these teams. And so I'm happy for them. My boy Caruso get another one. iHeart got one. Shai, J-Dub, Dort. I think Dort is the heart and soul of like Oklahoma City basketball since Russ left or whatnot. He's like the longest tenure guy, so it's good to see him get one. I think the world of Sam Presti as a GM finally get one to get that Harden trade rubbish off of his name. So my young boy AJ Mitchell gets one. I'm excited for them, but I'm also again sad and really down about the Tyrese Halliburton trade. Injury. Just to see a talent like that go down after everything he's been through, after all the smut that was on his name. and to see him rise to the occasion to put all of that on the hush. Hopefully, the next time we see him on the court, we get the same Tyrese Halliburton. And like that, it's the end of the year. It's the last recap of another incredible playoff run. All of the videos you see from me now will have something to do with the draft, free agency, trades, player movement. We got, Kevin Durant got traded today. Isaiah Hartenstein's son is asleep on his shoulder during the celebration. He a real good sleeper. That's that baby can sleep, man. It's a lot of noise out there, but yeah, it's bittersweet, man. An incredible NBA season. Injuries, winning, championship, champagne, highs, lows, ups, downs. Love the game for what it is, man. This is it. This is the game. But yes, as always, I appreciate y'all. I love y'all, everybody who was down for all of the recaps throughout these playoffs. Another one, another chapter close. And yeah, man, I'll see y'all when I see y'all. I'm out. Peace.